All right, we're live. Man, it's been a while, Dan, and there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, but we're gonna. There's a lot to talk.
That's why I said, you want to go, you just want to jump into it? I said, let's just jump into it, brother. I said, if we're going to catch up, because we haven't spoken in a while, if you want to catch up, let's
Okay.
catch up and the people can hear it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Let's not,
All right.
let's not speak in silence, brother, because you know me. I'm not a man that speaks in silence.
No, you're not. You're not. We'll.
If I
No,
say
we're gonna.
anything, I say it with my chest, brother. That's,
I
that ain't
know.
no lie.
I know. I know. We're gonna give a little bit of time for people to hop in. You know what I mean? So
Let
they
them
could get it
marinate.
live. Yeah.
Sheesh,
Let marinate.
sheesh.
Yeah. First thing, man. Before we get into all the hot and spicy shit that's going on.
Ooh.
The tattoos. We had a conversation. Like, if you're gonna fight, you don't have tattoos. But now you got some tattoo. Like, you got your leg done. You got your
Nah,
back
brother.
done. Let me see that.
Yeah.
Damn, that's sick, man. That's sick. I love
That
that.
was like I did it with Josh Kuhn.
Yeah.
He's located on the Gold Coast and he does a podcast called Tattoo Talk. So this is like it's kind of out of the blue. Obviously, I flew over to Perth to watch the boys at UFC Perth. Now on the way back, like a cyclone was hitting New Zealand, so I was 2 hours from the airport. I was supposed to go to the airport, then my flights got cancelled 2 hours before my flight, and I was like, "Oh man, what do I do now?" So instead of flying back to New Zealand, I flew to the Gold Coast, and then met my wife and daughter, met my family at SeaWorld on the Gold Coast, and we went to SeaWorld and Movie World, and we had like a bit of a holiday. And then he hit me up, "Hey, brother, if there's anything you need," I said, "Man, let's get some ink done." And then this kind of just happened out of nowhere. Obviously, not the smallest tattoo in the world. It took, I think it was like 10, 11 hours under the gun, which is not the most fun I've ever had. But
Man.
yeah, we got it done. So yeah, watch out for that podcast, Tattoo Talks. It's a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah. Josh Kuhn, man, he's legit. Tattoo and he can fight. The boy can crack.
And he can fight. And he
The
can
boy
fight.
can
Fight of
crack.
the year. Fight of the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Him and Dennis Philly.
One of the best fights all time in Australian history. Just go
Facts.
check that out.
Facts.
Eternal. You also got your leg too, right? One of your legs.
Well, I'm holding that up. Yeah.
This dude just next thing you know, you're gonna be a yakuza walking around looking like you look like a
Well, that's the
yakuza.
idea. Is to it's obviously a multi designer. It's just to represent um, represent the whole of New Zealand, represent the Māori culture. So the next time that I wrap it around someone's neck, I'm kicking them with the whole of New Zealand behind me. That's it. It's kind of just represents like it's my armor. You know what I mean? Next time I go in a battle, that's my armor, and I'm obviously a big kicker. That's something I like to do. So I'm kicking them with the whole of New Zealand behind me. That's the idea behind that.
Give him a little taste of history. That's
Woo!
you know
Kick
how it
'em-
is.
you get kicked by one person. That's one thing. You get kicked by millions of people. That's a whole different story, brother.
That is. Everybody watching live right now, put your questions in the chat, comments, and make sure you guys go in the descriptions, download the AllStar app. Tonight, man, I had a pretty good night on picks, man. I think I'm gonna start gambling and shit. You know what I mean? I went 11-3 on picks. I did pretty damn good for myself,
It's not bad. That's
It
not
is.
bad.
It
That's
is.
not bad. Good
You
work.
know,
I'll give you a little clap for that one.
appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let's get into John Jones first, man. John Jones goes in there and I see people online complaining about like they wanted to see a fight, and I'm like, yo, you don't want to be fighting like a fight of the night in the heavyweight division. You want to go in there and clean house quick and get that strap. Dan, what did you think of this performance?
Yeah, like oh man, you're never gonna please everyone. You know what I mean? John Jones is such a polarizing figure that's what draws the real numbers, and that's probably why he's one of the biggest pay per view sales in the UFC. Is that it's like a Floyd Mayweather situation. Whether you want to see him win or you want to see him get knocked out, you're going to tune in and fight. But you hit the nail on the head. That's not how you want to go out and fight in the heavyweight division. Like, I know he wanted to put on an exciting performance, but just dominant. It's I get it. Like, it was a bit of a nothing fight. Like, you just kind of shut him down, dragged him to the ground, and got the guillotine. It was a bit of a it was a bit of like a nothing fight, but an incredibly impressive performance from John Jones. Definitely, warrants his praises. He took his time. He moved up to heavyweight, and he got the job done like he hadn't had any time off, which is picture perfect situation for John Jones.
Yeah, man, it was picture perfect, and there was a lot of talk ahead of the fight. People waiting for. I never seen so many men waiting for someone to take their clothes off to see how they look. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of people waiting for John Jones to show his body. You know what I mean? Like, that was just weird the whole week. I was just watching people trying to, and they were body shaming him and shit. I'm just like, just very odd.
That's just dumb. Like, that's just what comes with size. Like, what comes with size is like fat. Fat comes with muscle. Like, they work 2 and 2. Like, if he would have shown up and he would have been like 12 pack vascular, like, that would start asking some questions, definitely, because that's like impossible. And we've seen it in the past, like Alistair Overeem put on 10, 20 kilos and that be pure muscle, but that's just not that's just not like naturally possible. You know what I mean? But yeah, he looked that's just how to do it naturally. He took his time and he shifted the weight on properly, and that's just what it looks like. You know what I mean? And it's not so much like boxers that walk around like the lighter boxers like Usyk and stuff like that, which are only like 110 kilos. Like, under that, like, these are guys that need that agility for like punching, and then when it comes to like grabbing a hold of some guy and making him carry a weight, that's when the wrestling and the grappling gets involved. You're going to want to carry as much weight as possible, and whether that's muscle or whether that's fat, that's weight, man. Like, that's where it doesn't really matter in the heavyweight division. So yeah, I was a bit like confused by it. Like, yeah, he didn't look like a bodybuilder, but you don't have to look like a bodybuilder in a fist fight. That's not the objective of it.
Do you feel like we saw enough from John Jones? Because like, everybody wanted to see, is he as fast? Is he as quick? Will he move the same way that he did in light heavyweight? And I thought the whole time, like, of course he's not going to move the same way. He's weighing 20, 30, 40 more pounds than he did before. You know what I mean? Like, when he competed. So what did you think about his movement and how he looked ahead of even just getting the takedown?
That's like perfect situation, right? Is that he didn't show it. Like, when every time you step out there and fight and compete, get in there with someone, you obviously want to get the job done as dominantly as possible. But at the end of the day, if you get out of there without having to show your card, like, if you get out of there with showing as least cards as possible, that's the true underlying objective. Which you can't have that going into a fight. Be like, oh, I'm going to hold some cards back, because you're going to need all your weapons. You're going to need all your tools. You're going to have to utilize all of your skills to get the job done. But it just so happens, if the chips fall as they do, and you get out of there without having to show those kind of things, or show any flaws, or show any holes in your game, then that's the perfect situation. So as far as John Jones is concerned with that fight went perfectly for him. So it's like, you can't be upset that a fighter didn't get hit enough, or didn't have to dig deep and or anything like that. Like, that's those are just asinine questions. At the end of the day, they're just pointless.
And then you got Francis. You know what I mean? He never lost the title, and he already trolling. Already. He's out there tweeting, "Good job, Johnny boy. Sincerely, the heavyweight king." He's already trolling him, man. I love it. I love that Francis is sitting out there outside, not even contract to the UFC, but he kind of does hold the title, man. Like he didn't lose it, so it's like he could say something to John Jones and continually troll John Jones if he really wanted to. Like if he wanted to play that game, right?
Nah, nah. That's
No.
not how. That's not how. That's not how it works. Like you don't. You don't. Like your. That statement appeals to probably 5% of people that watch the UFC. Like I feel like that statement appeals to like a very small people that know the game very well. Your average Joe, 95% of the people that bought that pay per view tonight, they've already forgotten about it. Like they move so quickly, they jump so fast. Um, they see that title strapped around John Jones' waist. He's the champion, and that's just the way it is. Like Francis doesn't have the title anymore. That was the undisputed title on the line. That wasn't an interim championship or anything like that. So as far as the history books go, John Jones is the champ, and that's where that conversation ends. Would the UFC be willing to bring Francis back? I'm sure they would. Would they be willing to bring him back for more money than they offered him at the time? I guarantee they wouldn't. I guarantee that number hasn't shifted at all. I guarantee, if anything, that number has gone down because now there's another undisputed championship, and he'll be fighting as the contender, not as the champion.
Yeah, I don't think there's many fighters out there that can leave the UFC and be the A side, so to say, coming back in. There's only maybe a Brock Lesnar when he came back, right? And he was demanding the amount of money that he wanted, and he would probably get it because he can bring a different demographic into the UFC and sell pay-per-views. I feel like Francis is not the same level as a Brock Lesnar.
Nah, like he brought all those other eyes. He brought the whole wrestling community, which it's as close to combat sports. Like it's the entertainment side of combat sports. That's just what it is. So that's as close to they have a very similar system. Like people are used to paying for pay-per-views. People are used to it's a very similar system. I feel like there's a very large shared fan base among the wrestling community and the MMA community. Like there's a lot of people that I guarantee that watch both, and Brock Lesnar brought a lot of eyes to the division. So I don't think that it's the same for Francis and Gane. I feel like Francis' next step would be going away and having one of these boxing fights and yeah, one or two big boxing fights, and he'll probably get paid as much money as 10 UFC fights for two of these boxing fights. Like it's just the truth of the situation.
Yeah, there you go, man. The main event. Now we got John Jones. He's gonna probably fight Ciryl Gane. He's gonna probably fight Stipe, right? Stipe and John Jones. That's to me, that's a more interesting fight right there. I think there's gonna be a lot more hype around that fight. Definitely, with the skill set that Stipe has, and yeah, and I like that John Jones called him out. You know, because Stipe widely considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. So let's see what happens with that. Valentina, man, she gets choked out. A lot of people believe that would probably never happen, and it happened against Grasso, who was a heavy underdog, man. MMA, man, is the craziest fucking sport in the world.
Yeah, what's the hunter versus the hunted, right? Like she's been the hunted for so long now. That's the difficult situation when you have a pack of dogs chasing you down and you never get any rest. Like that's the difficult part of the situation. But I feel like head and shoulders of anyone deserves an immediate rematch. It's got to be Valentina. Like the amount of title defenses that she stacked up towards that. Like if we're the guys will have like one defense and they'll argue that an immediate rematch is warranted or something like that. It's like this is not the same as Valentina. Like there has to be an immediate rematch for Valentina. that's incredibly hard and difficult to argue against.
Have you seen Cocaine Bear?
I have not seen. I have seen the shorts for Cocaine Beer. I've seen it advertised. I've not. I don't know if that's Head and Shoulders. I went and watched with the boys. We went and watched with the City Kickboxing crew. Went and watched Creed 3. They had like a special screening of. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But yeah, that's a good movie. It's a good movie. Let's just say it didn't end how I wanted it to end, but it's a good movie.
Oh, of course, man. Most of those movies are good. What do you think? What did you think about Jake Gyllenhaal? You know what I mean? I'll fight him. You know, like I'll get in there with him. They were filming the
You
movie.
get in there. That's your guy.
I'll fight him.
How cool is that? How cool is
Yeah.
that? Because I actually had a couple of friends, like they already had tickets to Las Vegas and they came down to support, and they were in the crowd for this UFC, and they were sending me videos of, because I saw Jake at the weigh-ins come up and step on the scales and things like that at the weigh-ins. They had him filming the movie there, but they actually filmed. I think it was in between the Fight Pass prelims and the prelims. They had Jake like walk out and come in the cage, and they filmed more of that movie as he was inside the actual cage on fight night. Like my friends were sending me videos of that. And I thought that was real cool. I thought that was awesome. Like it's kind of funny, and it's kind of cool that like a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, like he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and that they're making a movie about like something that we do. Like that's second nature to me, going in there to the UFC octagon and jumping in there, and then for them to make like a UFC like a movie about that is pretty cool. Like people aspire to that kind of moment, and you kind of forget it after you had so many UFC fights. So you kind of forget you kind of forget how like important and how special like that moment is. And how special you are to be standing inside the octagon until you see something like that. You see a movie getting made about it. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it just shows you like how mainstream it's becoming. And he, like I think he was in Southpaw, right? Like he was in Southpaw. That was a good movie as well.
That's a good movie. That's a good movie. Sad as shit movie. Sad, terribly sad movie. That movie's horrible, but it's a good movie. That's that'll be up there. The Wahlberg movie Fighter.
Yeah.
That's a good boxing movie, but Southpaw's got to be up there with some of my favorite. Obviously, one of my favorite fight movies will be $1 Million Baby. Even I think that's the saddest movie of all time. Oh. I truly believe that is the most terrible. That is the most terrible fight movie of all time, but it is good. You can't deny that.
Nah, you can't. But yeah, like, you think he's on the gear though? Man, he look in shape. Old boy look in shape. You think?
Well, I know that's like pretty. I know that that's pretty like accepted in like the movie. Well, it's not like they're gonna get. They're not actually like hitting anyone in the head. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you're taking steroids just for like looks, you're not competing against anyone or having like any kind of actual physical confrontation with anyone. Then I think it's like fine. Then I think it's like do whatever you want to do with your own body. But yeah, go nuts. I'm sure he is.
What if that was part of the narrative in that movie? We just don't know yet that he got popped for like PEDs by USADA, and that's part of the movie. That would make it realistic, right?
In Roadhouse, I've seen the movie. It's a great movie. Patrick Swayze, I know that. That is not part of the movie. Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse, spinning head kick. What the? That's what it's all about.
I heard that Patrick Swayze in that movie, he wore butt pads, so his ass looked bigger in the jeans. Did you hear about that?
Got to keep the wheelhouse strong. I didn't hear about it, but you got to keep the wheelhouse strong, brother. Strong wheelhouse. The secret to success. You must remember these.
For real. Going back to Jones though, what do you think about the Stipe fight? Like, do you feel it's hard to like forecast like what that fight will look like because Stipe's been gone for so long and John Jones, we only saw him for like 2 minutes.
Mm. Yeah, like I think at the end of the day, that's it. Like we like saw John Jones, very dominant performance, and you just can't argue against that. To sit here and pick holes in a performance like that would be incredibly difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like that's from Jones and Jones's camp. That's a near perfect performance. That kind of is what it is. Like, do I want to see him more tested? Yeah, but I want to see everyone more tested. You know what I mean? Every undefeated fighter, every champion, you want to see them get tested and you want to see how they hold up under that pressure. That's just the common theme of mixed martial arts. Stipe, it'll be kind of be the same thing. Like now he's going to be coming back after a long layout. Like the same questions need to be asked about Stipe, and it just comes down to the nature of the heavyweight division. But yeah, like as long as John Jones keeps answering these questions that people keep asking, and that comes with longevity. We all know how difficult it is to hold up under the longevity of the heavyweight division. Like it gets like one or two title defenses at heavyweight, and people are going, "Man, this is the best guy that's ever been inside the octagon." Like that's just what it comes down to. It's an incredibly difficult division to kind of string any kind of wins together.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. Man, and you know, ahead of the event, there was also some talk about. I think John Jones was saying that he should get his win back from the second fight against Daniel Cormier, where the picograms, the picograms, and then like now I guess the levels of picograms is allowable, is higher. So like his picograms like fall into that threshold. So he wants reparations, like he wants that no contest overturned back to a win. Like, what do you think of that shit? To me, that's just confusing, right? Like how they change that after some time, like how much something is allowed in your system when you get tested. Like, should there
Yeah,
be
that's
zero in your system? Like, I don't understand this.
that's like really not how the law works, right? Like if you if you like break a law and then you're in prison for that after being sentenced to it, and then they change the law, like they don't necessarily let you out. Like that's not
No.
necessarily like why my question is, why were the picograms there in the first place? It wasn't because wasn't because you were at KFC, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what were they doing there in the first place? You know what I mean? So he's not technically, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
in reality, it's a whole different story.
To me, it's a pointless argument. It's like, you know, like you said, it's like any other violation, right? No one's gonna go back and say, "Oh, we're gonna take that time back from prison that you did," because it's not gonna happen, right? So there's no point of, I think,
Yeah,
arguing
yeah.
about it.
Like at the end of the day, like what happened happened, and that that's history. Like it's if he wants to come out and make some kind of argument and a song and dance and make tweets and vindicate himself, then that's on him. If he feels vindicated, then he feels vindicated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But like the reality is that those moments in time can't be shifted. He will never have that. He will never have that moment in time and that feeling and that reality of having that taken away from him back.
This has become a like
Skirt.
this has become a big topic now, man. Even with Darren Till, him asking for his release from the UFC and getting released so he could go get treatment on his knee. He needs to get some kind of injections, which I guess are not going to be allowed under USADA. So
Okay.
he's gonna leave the UFC and get the treatment to heal up, and then come back later. Um, and then there's that whole issue about Conor McGregor like retiring without us knowing. And now look at what he looks like now. You know what I mean? Like, does he pass the smell test? I don't know. But
You are
even
cutting. I can't even.
am I cutting
You
out?
cutting in and out, my man.
Oh,
You
am
just
I?
jump back in there. I haven't heard the last 30 seconds of what you've been saying.
Okay. So the like Darren Till. Did you hear the part about Darren Till? Did you catch that part?
I catch. I caught. It was in and out. It was in and out. I'm not
All
gonna.
right.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
All right. So you know, Darren Till, he asked for his release, right, from the UFC, so he could get
Yeah.
some injections, right?
And you're saying about um like that, like TJ. Obviously, like TJ is doing the same thing. Connor's doing the same.
Why is it cutting out? Yeah, it's cutting out. You good? We're having some technical difficulties. Hold on. You guys, hold on. Someone wrote NZ Wi-Fi, possibly. But yeah, just hold on. Yeah, we're gonna get back onto the topic of this whole USADA situation. Um, is an earthquake? No, I don't think there's no earthquake going on. I hope not. Um, but yeah, with Darren Till, and then you got TJ retiring, and then you got the whole Conor McGregor situation where he's not getting tested. And yeah, we're gonna get Dan back on here to talk about that, and then we'll break down some of the other parts of UFC 285, Bo Nickel, um, Gamrot, Shavkat. We'll have Dan. Dan's he's hopping out. He'll be back in. But yeah, put some comments. Some people got some questions. I'll answer some questions while Dan is figuring out his Wi-Fi. See what happens. Okay, he's back. Looks like it. But he's now it's
We
good.
back.
All right,
We back.
now it seems like it's better.
We back, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
Back where we left off.
All right, there you go. So yeah, so the whole thing, right, with Darren Till asking for his release from the UFC to get injections on his knee to repair his knee, and then he's going to come back later on, and then TJ retiring, and people don't know if he's really retired. Is he just retired because he wants to go get his body worked on with things that are not allowed by USADA? And then there's the whole Conor McGregor situation that's going on. Like, what do you think is happening right here with like, because there's a big part of like a lot of fighters being in the UFC. Of course, it's the biggest platform, and you know, and it's the biggest organization in the world. But a lot of it has to do with like it being the cleanest organization, right? So, what do you think of all these things that are going on right now? And then John Jones as well. You know, I mean, him coming back, and I don't even know if they're testing him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it definitely is better than what was before, but it definitely, from like my perspective of competing under the under like USADA and stuff like that, is like if there are exceptions to the rules, and that's undeniable. Like, am I still gonna fight? Of course. Am I gonna sit here and make a song and dance about it and say, like, do I care whether guys are on steroids and guys are not on steroids? Like, at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll fight them regardless of what is being done. But are there like, do I know that there are exceptions to the rules? 1,000%. Like, I'm 100%. Anyone watching the sport knows that there are exceptions to the rules. Like, if you sell enough pay-per-views and if you make enough money or you're a big enough name in the sport, can you find, if you have the money to, can you find some kind of exemption to the rules? 100%. Like, that's undeniable. So is it cleaner than any other organization in the world? I also believe 100%. But is it foolproof? Is it a bulletproof program? Nah, there's no way. There's no way. There's exceptions to the rules. If you have the money to skirt the rules, then you can skirt the rules. If you're a big enough ticket seller, then you're above. Yeah, there are exemptions, and that's undeniable.
100%, 1,000%, 1,000%. You know what I mean? Me being somebody that's like somewhat in the know and
Like,
has been.
you can name one average Joe that's like dipped out of the testing pool to take some time to recover his body. You know what I mean? Like, it's Conor McGregor, it's DJ Dillashaw, it's like big name guys. It's Darren Till. It's like all of these guys playing in the gray area and on the fringes can afford to do so. You know what I mean? And they're so valuable to the UFC that the UFC brings some kind of leeway to it.
1,000%, man. Anybody knows about what's going on. They know what's good. It's just the truth, man. You know?
It's just the truth, baby.
And you know what sucks is like Paulo Costa, I think he came out and said some shit, and then all of a sudden he's getting tested all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild, man. Like, if you say anything, it's just like okay, you said something. Let me go test you.
Same as me, brother. 2 free knocks on my door at 6 a.m. By USADA, blood and piss over the last couple of weeks, and you think that's a coincidence? That ain't no coincidence, baby.
that's no coincidence for sure. No coincidence.
It's unsure, you know what I mean? But it's like, on the same hand, you think I'm just gonna like shut up and bite my tongue? It's like, brother, I almost had 50 knocks on my door. And that's a stranger coming into your house, asking you to pull down your pants and stare at your dick. You think I'm gonna sit silent while other guys are skirting the rules when I got some stranger knock on my door asking me to pull my pants down? It's like, brother, I ain't playing this game. It's like, my opinion, either test everyone all the same or stop knocking on my fucking door and let me do whatever I want. That's what it comes down to. Because I don't really like, at the end of the day, steroids, no steroids. I'll fight any of these guys. Like, I don't at the end of the day care about it.
Well, yeah, we know that. We know that you don't care about it, but at the same time, you know, for me being out there, if it's equal, it has to be equal. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be.
But that's
fair.
it for what really brings in the revenue and the gambling and the sponsorships and things like that. We need to appear to be having a clean sport.
Yeah.
But I don't care about how. Yeah, either make it clean, either cut it down the middle and make it clean, or take it back to the wild, wild west, baby.
All right, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about the tweets.
Let's talk, baby.
Yeah, let's talk about the tweets. I'll let you talk, man. Like, tell me, like, what sparked those tweets?
Well, from where I'm sitting and where I'm honestly sitting is, I want to. Who has hit him up about it? Like, obviously, I started the fire, and he's the world champion. Has he not had interviews since I asked those questions? Is he above reprimand or anything like that? It's like, so I come out, I make these claims. I made the claims. I've made no apology for making those claims whatsoever. Has not one interviewer asked him about these claims and asked him about what I have accused him of doing? Has that not happened? Has he not done a single interview since I made these claims and required some kind of justification for these claims? You know what I mean? So from where I'm sitting, I have asked these questions and there's been no response. He's sat on his hands. Now I know that. 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 I know Monobrow has come out and denied it, but I wasn't talking to Monobrow. Those tweets were directed at one man. Those tweets were directed at Islam. Those tweets weren't directed at his management. Those tweets weren't directed at his team. I didn't accuse them of anything. I accused him, and I didn't stutter when I said those things. I didn't stutter once. I accused him very directly. I said his name. So from where I'm sitting, he needs to be asked about it. He needs to address them. Because like before I show all of my cards, and I want to hear him deny it. You know what I mean? If he doesn't deny it, then how do I discredit him? Because I can discredit him. So why should I show all of my cards when he hasn't even responded to the accusations?
So the whole situation has led to people wanting to see proof. You know what I mean? That's what they want. They want to see proof.
Of course they want to see proof. Of course they want to see proof. But I want to hear him. I want to hear his response to it. How do I discredit something he hasn't denied? He comes out and denies it. I'll discredit him. That's a fact. If you know what I mean. If I said I had receipts, I have actual receipt. there's having receipts. That's a term of phrase, and then there's having the actual receipt that he paid for getting the IV. There's, you know what I mean? Like there's that's a factual statement. That wasn't a metaphorical term.
Also, his manager, or one of his managers, tweeted out something, and then he erased the tweet. Do you remember that?
That just shows you like the train of thought that their team had. Like they've legitimately been getting away with it for so long because they haven't been fighting in the US, because they haven't been fighting overseas. They've just been doing it. They've just been doing it so long that they thought it was legal. That's the reality of the situation. And then someone's obviously knocked on his door and said, like, hey, brother, like, actually, you need permission from the commission before you can administer anything like that. And yeah, that tweet was the reality of the situation.
And one thing that I want to know myself is, like, if people are getting IVs with permission, right? Who has been getting IVs then? Because where are those receipts? Like, where is the commission allowing us to see who's getting IVs? Like, there has been none, right?
Is there any? That's what. Well, that's the funny thing about this sport, is that we have a whole lot of journalists. We have a whole lot of MMA media, but I don't feel like we have any real journalists. Are there? Why is me as an athlete? Why is me as a fighter made substantial claims about one of the most well-known figures in the sport and nothing being done about it? That's like the funny, like it's my responsibility to investigate this. Am I a journalist? You know what I mean? Like I obviously know a lot of stuff and have a lot of information. Have I been asked for this information by any MMA journalist? Not a single one. Not a single MMA journalist. This is the first podcast or first interview where I've sat down and I've actually been asked, like, what information do you have? And how long? This is like a month ago. A month ago, I made these kind of accusations, and this is the first time that anyone associated with MMA media has actually asked me a question. That's the funny thing about it, and that's what's like funny to me. Like, yeah, like none of it's being investigated. That just shows you the amount of control that certain figures within the sport have, and how much influence certain figures in this they have over, and how much power they have over, and how much control is in MMA.
Wow, that's surprising, man. I'm surprised no one has hit you up asking questions
They
about
don't
this
want to
situation.
know. They don't want to know. They don't want to know.
They don't want to know.
They don't want to know. They don't actually want to know. Like, this is the first time I've actually been asked.
You know, someone that's like in the sport and like talk to fighters and talk to people that are behind the scenes, and in the past couple of years, I've heard whispers. I've heard whispers that fighters were getting IVs. I heard it even when it was banned, right? Like fighters were still getting it somehow, some way. And this is the whispers I heard, right, behind the scenes.
Well, from what I've learned from this whole situation is that the UFC don't care and USADA don't care. So if the UFC don't care and USADA don't care, as long as your local commission doesn't catch you, IVs are legal. That's what I've learned from this whole situation. I thought they were illegal. I thought it was my opinion, and it was like the fans' opinion, that you weren't allowed to do it. But from USADA's press release and from any action that we've heard from the UFC, they don't care about it. So, well, as like, yeah, that's a message out to fighters. Like, as long as your local commission doesn't catch you, IVs are legal. And it's pretty hard for a local commission to catch. Like, what are they going to test you for? Too much saline in your blood? Like, there's no test for it. Like, that's why USADA kicked it down the road. It's because you can't test for it.
Without a doubt. I did an interview with Joe Lopez like the week after. And he was visibly very bothered by this whole situation. And I don't know, man.
Why do you think I said
gonna...
something though? Like, why do you think I'm the guy that come out and said something? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't think that I know that there are going to be consequences for what I said? You don't think I'm going to be punished for what I said? I just don't care. Like, am I going to have some shape-ups or some Dagesstanis over the next couple of years in the lobby of UFC events? I'm sure I will. Do I care about confrontations with other teams? No, I don't. Not a single bit. Do I think that the UFC is going to punish me in some kind of way? Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll give me tough matchups. Whoop-de-doo. Ask the last 10 blokes I fought. They're all tough matchups. So what are you going to, like, bring it on? You want to give me tough matchups? Give me tough matchups. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here for easy fights. I'm here for tough fights. Are they an imposing team? Are they going to do this and do that? Yeah, I'm sure they will. But bring it on. I'm not going to blatantly see one of my teammates cheated out of a world title and not say anything. Because that comes it's only like the only reason Alex hasn't said something is because he legitimately thinks it's a fight. But when it came down to it, that was an incredibly close context, and that could have been the difference in him in having that moment. And that could have been the difference in him being the greatest sporting accomplishment in Australian history. Jumping on that cage with 2 bouts over his shoulder. That could have been the difference. And for that guy to come down here to Australia and to steal that moment from Alex, I couldn't bite my tongue and I couldn't sit on my hands because that pissed me off. That pissed me off that he still has that title because he's a cheat. He cheated Alex out of that title and he knows it. That's why I said it to him. Those tweets were directed at one man. Those tweets weren't directed at his management. Those tweets weren't directed at anyone except that one man. and for him to not be asked about it by any journalist, for him to not be pursued by any MMA media for a comment on the situation, I feel like is a real smudge on the face. You know what I mean? For him to sit at an interview, a media scrum or press conference, and to not be asked about it, I feel like you're a coward. I feel like if you sit there and you don't ask him about that, you're a coward. And for me to show my hand when he hasn't even been asked to respond to these accusations, I feel like that's a joke. Will I show this information? I'm sure I will when push comes to shove. But he's going to have to answer for it first.
There you go.
Deny it. I dare you to deny it. I dare you to deny it. Then I will discredit you.
I know that he's done an interview or two since that.
That was
event.
before. That was before.
That was before. Okay, it's because I don't think I've heard him being asked
That was
like, "Did you
before-
take an IV?" Like,
That was
like, that's
before
the question.
he laughed and he said, "USADA is fine with me." And I'm
Someone
sure
said in
they
the
are.
com-
And I'm
Someone
sure
said
they
in the
are.
comments. Someone said in the comments that a journalist in Dagestan asked him about
Oh,
it.
whoop-de-fucking-do. Whoop-de-fucking-do. A journalist in Dagestan. Congratulations. Bullshit. Is that an impartial journalist? Is that go on Ciryl Hawani? Talk to one of these big names in the sport. Do an interview with any of the top 10 MMA media organizations in the world. He won't. Because why? Because why? Because why? What champion? What champion? Name this for me then. What champion defends his title, wins a world title, and doesn't do a shred of MMA media after it? It's because I said what I said. That's why he's not done any interviews. Because I said what I said. Guilt is quiet.
You make a good point. Whenever you win the title, especially in a fight like that, you're
Do you
doing.
not do a
doing
media?
media.
Do you not
Yeah.
do a media tour?
You definitely do some kind of media.
Any kind of media? Name anyone outside of his home country that he's done media with.
I don't know. I don't.
Isn't
think I've
that
seen anything.
Is that not strange? Is that not strange? Like, that's strange to me.
So I think we gotta get someone to interview him. You know what I mean, and talk to him and see what he says.
Do an interview. Deny it, brother. I dare you. Deny it, please.
There you go. The ball's in Islam's court, like people like
That's
to
what
say.
I'm waiting for. Like, am I getting 50 death threats a day? Yeah. Do I care about a single one of them? No. I'm still here, baby.
Oh shit!
As I like to say, you can't kill a weed, brother. We grow in concrete.
There you go. We addressed it, and I guess MMA media is gonna go wild with this one, right? That's what's gonna happen. You guys do your thing, and hopefully someone does interview him, and we get some kind of response, because I think we do need some closure in this situation, right? A lot of people do want to see some kind of closure in it, and I would like to see it as well. What do we got next? Bo Nickel. Let's move on to a wrestler named Bo Nickel. The man is 3-0. First fight in the UFC. Pay-per-view. Where did he go? Where did he go? Here we go.
We back.
All right. Let's go to Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel, 3 fights professional. Hell of a wrestler. You know what I mean? A lot of hype behind him. Makes his UFC debut on pay-per-view. Goes in there and doesn't waste any time. Takes the fight to the ground, and I believe he chokes out Jamie Pickett. What'd you think of that situation? And do you see like a high ceiling for this man?
Boom, bang, bing. Like that was the question, wasn't it? Like the question was like we knew he was good. We knew he could finish fights. That wasn't the question. The question was, could he do it under the lights? And he can. Could he do it
Yeah.
under a UFC pay-per-view main card in Las Vegas? And he can. I tip my hat. I tip my hat. Obviously, the next question is a step up in competition under those same lights. Like that 100% grade up until this point. Incredibly impressive. That was the question. Can he do it under the lights? That was the question. He answered the question. Tip your hat to him. Set a new challenge if you will. But up until this point, 100% grade. And that's undeniable.
People are talking about a groin shot. Did you see it?
Oh, fuck off. The other bloke.
They're gonna put it in appeal.
Fuck off. No. No appeal. I'm the commission. Appeal denied.
You're the new
I'm the commission.
You're the new commission.
Appeal denied. Get out of here.
When have we ever seen an appeal not denied?
Never.
Think about that.
Never. When has Nevada ever denied an appeal? You know what I mean? Every single time. Denied. Stamp. You're out.
They don't give a fuck. And if you want to fuck with them, they'll find the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Nick Diaz found out real quick. Yeah. Bo Nickel, man. He's someone to look out for. I think he's gonna do big things. I think they're gonna push him. You know, like the UFC, if they see something, they're gonna push you, and either you sink or you swim.
That's the UFC, man. They push you as far as you're willing to be pushed. Like if he wants to, I'm sure if he wants to fight a ranked guy next, they'll give him a ranked guy. Like that's just the UFC. The same goes with any prospect that hits a lot of numbers. Like Paddy Pimblett, I'm sure if he wanted a ranked opponent, he'd be getting a ranked opponent next. The only reason he's not is because he doesn't want a ranked opponent. Like that's just what it comes down to. The UFC, and I know this full well, is more, push. Like that's just the way that they operate. It'll only be the fighter and the fighter's teams that is pulling the reins back, saying like, whoa, he needs a little bit more. He needs this opponent. And stuff like that. Yeah, is it? Yeah, I don't feel like it needs like a named unranked opponent. I feel like that'll be the logical next step for him. I don't feel like he needs to jump into because I feel like once you hit the number game, it's you can't get out of the number game. Nah. It's like well, yeah. Once you hit those number game, it's sink or swim. Everyone knows that. You know what I mean? If you fight number 15, you lose to number 15, you're back to the start. You're back to where you came from. So it's he doesn't quite need the number game yet, but yeah, I tip my hat. He ticks all the boxes.
He's very good, man. He's very good for having so little fights, and the UFC they love him, man. You already know he's on a pay-per-view in his debut. If they didn't love him, they wouldn't put him in that spot. And he showed out, like you said, under the lights. He did it. He did what he needed to do. So he's going to get a little bit of preferential treatment, so to say. Like, you know, people like to complain about, but it's the fight game. That's what happens. The guy you were supposed to fight, Jalen Turner, fought Gamrot, and a very close competitive fight, I thought. You know what I mean? Like, Jalen Turner looked pretty good on the feet. Just Gamrot's grappling was just a little bit better. And what did you think of that whole clash right there?
It's a good fight. I was impressed. I was impressed by both of them, for Gamrot to not only come in and do what he did, but to come in and do what he did on 3 weeks notice. That's like 10 days at American Top Team, like 10-day training camp. Like that just shows you that he was staying ready and he was staying in shape, and he was good to go. That's another top 10 win for him. So yeah, impressive from both. It's not like Jalen went out like weird risk for me for Jalen to like, that's a big stylistic change. Like me and Gamrot are like we're like polar opposites. Like a wrestler that's just gonna get in your face and like shoot repeatedly against me, who's gonna stay at range and fight long. Yeah, that's like a bit of a risk. I thought it was like a weird matchup. Yeah, risk versus reward though, to get a higher ranked opponent on that shorter notice is pretty unique. So it was, yeah, impressive from both, and I don't feel like either of them, like Gamrot is not gonna really go up. Like I don't know who's ranked above him, but I don't feel like he's really gonna go up, and I don't feel like Jalen's really gonna go down. So it's a bit of just a learning experience for Jalen. That's like it's momentum building for Gamrot and a bit of a learning experience for Jalen. Like that's where I'm at with the fight.
Yeah, Gamrot, he's sitting at number 7. Jalen's at number 10. I feel like they shouldn't even move. They should just get better fights now. Moving forward.
Yeah. I feel like, for me to, like, I'm like 11 and he's 10. For me to jump him because he lost to 7 would be weird. You know what I mean? I really wouldn't complain. Like if I can jump him without even fighting him, I was like sitting there and laughing. I was like, bro, if I get ranked above him and then I don't even fight him, I was like, that. I tip my hat. I love MMA rankings. I was like, that would be hilarious.
We see that happen though.
Oh,
it's not like impossible.
Yeah. It's not possible. Like I'm sitting here like fingers crossed. Like shit. No. You got Gamrot got his hand raised, and I got top 10, baby. Like, like fuck. Like if he can do it without even throwing a punch, like that's a smart man's game, dog.
Yeah. What's the update on the hand?
Now yeah, it was funny, man. Like I came back because I obviously broke it, and then I was like, well, I may as well go to Perth. I went to Perth, watched the boys like bang in Perth, and then I was like supposed to fly back to New Zealand, and then my flights, I was like 2 hours, I was like an hour off going to the airport. Like I was gonna leave to go to the airport, and then I got like a ding on my phone. My flight had been cancelled on a Tuesday, and I was like, oh, I'll just rebook it. And I couldn't rebook it. It was you couldn't rebook it till Monday the following week. So I was like, what am I gonna do for 8 days? Like that's weird, because there was a cyclone in New Zealand which closed the airport. So then anyway, I was like supposed to be in fight camp. So my missus and my kid were going to like SeaWorld. It's like a resort, like it's like kid shit. There's fucking dolphins and all of that stuff, and like Movie World and stuff like that on the Gold Coast in Australia. So I just flew over there and met them in the Gold Coast and SeaWorld. And just had like a little bit of a holiday, Movie World, SeaWorld, stuff like that. Got my tattoo. And then came back to New Zealand, but I was like a week late because I'd been on holiday. Went back to the doctor. Doctor x-rayed it, and I think she was just like real pissed off with me, because she was like, they x-rayed it, and then she like pretty much sat me in the naughty corner. She was like, come with me, sit me in this room. And I was like in this room for like half an hour, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a storage closet. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is not even and I popped my head out, asked one of the nurses, I was like, is this even a room? And she goes, I was like, fuck, I'm in trouble. But the nurse the doctor came back and was like, nah, your hand's not healing. It's further, the fracture's like further apart than it was when you first did it. you're gonna need surgery. So I was like, fuck. Obviously, like been sitting around like thinking, bro, surgery. That's like 4 months, like 2 months for the surgery, 2 months for rehab. I was pissed off. Then I went and saw the surgeon a couple of days ago. He like cut the cast off. He looked at it, like had a feel and stuff like that. And he's just like, yeah, it's good. I was like, do I need surgery or anything like that? And he goes like, he said, what do you need it for? Well, I said, I kind of just need to make a fist and hit people with it. And he was like, I'll catch you later then. He was like, it's good as gold. I was like, the doctor last week said I needed surgery. And he goes, see how like, I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't really see it. I'm trying to find the angle. See how like that finger's like a bit crooked?
Yeah.
He's like, if you want this finger straight, I can give you surgery. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's superficial, right? And he's like, nah, like say you had knitting as a hobby. He's like, I have to fix that. I have to make that straight. And I was like, I don't need that. I was like, I just have to do this and I have to do this. And he's like, yeah, like that's cool. You're good as gold then. I was like, mad. So obviously it's still broken. He just cut the cast off and said, I don't need a brace. But like, I think that's 4 weeks now. I think another 3 weeks until I can start like strengthening it with weights. And then like a couple of like, then you can start like hitting stuff and putting impact on it and stuff like that. But I was thinking June, I think June, I'll be good to go. I know June 10th or something like that. They're coming back to, I think there's a rumored card in Singapore in June, like June 10th. I'll be good for that. Like Singapore is just up the road, close to Thailand. Go for a little bit of a holiday after that.
Oh.
And yeah, June 10th. I think it's a pay-per-view in Singapore. Good to go.
All right. June 10th, pay-per-view in Singapore. Breaking news. Maybe.
Let's go.
That's good. That's good to hear, man. That's good.
June 10th, I'll hit you with it. I don't know but I'll hit you with it.
Maybe they can line you up for that title shot. You know what I mean? You never know. You know what I mean? Maybe you can sneak in there.
I'll hit you with it.
Sneak in for that lightweight title shot right there, Singapore. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
It's coming. Bro, the Sharks are circling now. Ain't no one scared after that performance, brother.
All right. Shavkat. What'd you think of Shavkat, man? He went in there and
Mad fight. That was my fight of the night. I thought that was a mad fight. Jeff Neal's a beast. Like hits like a truck. Shavkat ate that shit and walked him down. Like I love that fight. That was an incredible. I love that fight. That was my fight of the night. Jeff Neal with Shavkat. I love that. Big, yeah. 17-0 all finishes. But again, any better than that. I think that was incredible.
Someone was saying that was like one of the only fights that ended in a submission, but they never went to the ground.
No.
Oh, they said someone was saying that was one of the only fights that ever ended in a submission, but they never went to the ground. No one ever like took no one down the whole fight, which is insane.
Yeah. That's mad. It was kind of like a weird finish, but yeah, like someone grabs your neck, they grab your neck. Doesn't matter whether you're standing up, on the ground, like your neck's your neck.
Someone was saying that was the bouncer choke. You know when the bouncer grabs you at the club, they want to take you outside.
That's a secret, Baba. I used to be a bouncer. That's the secret. Never punch no one. Choke the few covers out though.
Hey, go back to Perth. How was that, man? How was the after parties? I saw that video of Volk dancing and shit. Like that shit. Like it wasn't even dancing. It was like he was just doing footwork. And have you seen the memes?
Yeah, it was like shadowboxing. Nah, I ain't seen the memes. Send them to me.
I'll send you one. It's on Instagram. But Yeah.
No, that
How
was
was
cool,
that?
man. That was cool because we were like, it was funny. We were like up at the after party. It was funny, like Eugene, our coach, Eugene Behrman, he came and they like obviously let him in his jandals because he doesn't own shoes. So he's like walking around, but the floor of the after party on the roof was like so sticky that like his jandals were getting stuck to the ground, and he was like worried they were gonna rip off. So he was like walking around. He was like walking around on like the edges of his feet. But no, that was funny, man. And then we went because yeah, I thought we were going into like a different part of the club, and then they like walked us onto a stage, and I was like, "Well, this is weird." I was like, I feel like it's like 1,000 people just like staring at me. I was like, "But hey, you have enough beers, you start dancing and having a good time." And it's nah, it was cool, man. It was cool. With everyone shadow boxing and dancing, but nah, it was a good night. Perth was incredible. Like that's the first fight night that they've had down this side of the world um, since the old Big C hit the decks, and it was wild, man. Like when Volk walked out, obviously it was incredible. That whole fight was incredible. Jack Della was deafening when he finished his fight. The crowd went deafening because he's like a hometown guy, and that's like a lot of the that's like the part that gets lost on people at home watching the TV is that like hometown guy knocking someone out like live, it's unbeatable. That's unbeatable. The nerd like because you're sitting in the crowd like that's a guy you know. That's a guy that grew up on the streets that you grew up on. Like that's it's incredible to see. So like that was deafening. But all of the Aussies doing so well, like Jimmy Crute doing so well. Like it was an incredible card. I was there from the first fight, and it was just it was an amazing event. Like oh man, I was so gutted that I couldn't. Oh man, if they could have just chucked me in there halfway through, I would have done it. That was sick.
Yeah, Jack Della, man. He's the next crop, right? Out of Australia.
For
Man,
sure.
he's a weapon. That boy
For
can
sure.
fight.
Clean as a whistle, man. Like for him to now be ranked, new contract, moving his way up the rankings. Like sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, just the next crop, the next wave. Even Jack Jenkins, man, the featherweight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
he's he's a unique character as well, man. Like the boy he just wants to scrap. Like his fight was
Yeah.
pretty crazy as well. Like he told me that his bones are just like extremely dense, so like he could just kick everything and put everything into all of his kicks. It just won't break.
Good
And I'm
man,
just like,
good man. I love those young fellas. They're fearless, bro. Like I used to be like that, bro.
what do you mean it used to be? What do
Yeah,
you
I'm
mean
so
used to?
now I'm just stupid. Before I was ignorant. You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah.
difference between ignorance and stupidity. Before I was just ignorant. Oh god, they'd be like punches can't hurt me. Like now I'm just stupid. Now I go out and I'm just like I don't care if punches hurt me. Like no, I do the same thing, but it's a different way.
Anything else stick out to you about this card? Any other performances?
What were the rattle them off, brother?
All right. I got you. All right, we got Garbrandt. That was a weird fight, right?
Why is it weird? That was a good fight.
That was
That
a
was a
good
good
fight.
fight. That was a good fight. Like we play the sport of risk versus reward. And if the reward is not there, then the risk is not warranted.
Mhm.
And that is impossible to argue against, my friend. Um, yeah, like obviously, yeah, it was like a low reward fight for him. He just needed to get the win. That's all it was. Gavin just needed to get the win. So he went out there and he just got the win. That's
Yeah.
that was what he needed to do in that fight, hand down. Like, will he take big risks and swing big shots and go for the knockouts? Of course he would. Gavin always does that. But that's for a title. That's for a title shot. That's for a higher ranking. That's for all of this kind of hoopla. none of that was on the line. They just wanted to see him get a win, and he went out there and he got the win. His corner was saying the exact same thing. He's going, "Don't worry about the crowd. You just need to keep doing what you're doing, and you get the win." He's so fast, bro. He's so fast. Like, I remember cornering Kai against him, and I like watched a lot of film leading into that fight, and then just actually sitting in the corner and seeing how fast he actually was, like, was incredible. Of course, there's tactical things that you can do to exploit that kind of speed. I don't really want to give anything away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I like the guy. I don't want to tell everyone. I don't want to tell future opponents how to beat them. I feel like that ruins the game.
Yeah,
Figure it out for yourself.
exactly.
Figure it out for yourself. Unless you're on my team, you have to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah. What about the boys from South Africa? Dricus Duplessis and Cameron Simon. Those boys can scrap.
I actually trained with Driscoll's in at Tiger Muay Thai.
Oh,
I
really?
trained with him. Yeah, I trained with Tiger Muay Thai. I remember him when he was fighting in EFC, and I think he was the welterweight and the middleweight champion
Yeah,
of
yeah.
EFC. And I knew of EFC because I think like 2012 I would train with Leon Meinhardt, who was like the lightweight champion of EFC. So I knew like what EFC was by the time that I bumped into Driscus. But yeah, I trained with Driscus not like extensively, but it's like Thailand. Like, you bump into cats and you know good cats, and you have a good conversation with them, and you have a little train with them, and you're just like, yeah, this guy's like legit. So it's very cool to see him. Was it beat the number 5?
Yeah, he was number 5.
That's wild. That's wild. Top 5 in the world. Like, that's an incredibly accomplishment for him. I'm so happy for him.
He has such a reckless style. It was almost like he's like Derek Brunson 2.0.
I feel like it appears reckless.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
Like, it appears reckless.
I feel like he forces the other guy to fight reckless. Like, he's always in like mad fights, right?
Always.
So you just think like, oh man, this guy's mad, but like then the other guy is mad too. So I feel like he forces the other guy into a mad fight, which is really cool to see. You know what I mean? To make as a fighter, that's like really cool for me to see, is to like see a guy make a guy do something he doesn't want to do. That's like cool for me to see. Like, when you can, like, you know what the other guy wants to do, but then you make him fight like an idiot. That's cool. I feel like that's cool. Making a guy do what he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, Dricus, man, I like him. I like his style. I'm very interested to see him fight the top 5 guys. You know what I mean? Because will he be able to make the top 5 guys fight like that? You know what I mean? And when he can't, how does he respond to that?
I feel like he'll be able to make Paulo Costa fight like that.
Yeah.
I feel like Paulo Costa will take the bait. I feel like that's a good fight. That's a fight I want to see.
A lot of good fights for him, man, coming up now for his next one soon, man. He seems like he wants to be real busy as well, so we'll see what happens. Ian Machado, Gary, he fought Keenan Song, got dropped in the first round, came back and got the 3rd round finish. Did you catch that one?
I did. Yeah, cool fight. I feel like a bit of a like, he was outpointing him and just got clipped with a punch. But it was cool to see the way that Ian Gary responded to that. Like, to get back to his corner, and his corner just be like, well, you had to make this exciting, didn't you? And then for him to kind of laugh and be like, yeah. Like, I was doing this, and I go, like, for him to be so young in his career and be so aware of what he was doing and the mistakes that he made was like pretty cool. It was like pretty cool to see. You know what I mean? Like, it was cool. And then the finish was incredible for him to do what he's doing, stay so composed, and then just for once he felt that a few cracks in songs like to start showing, for him to just put the pedal to the floor and just the straight, like for him to just ramp it up at the perfect time and get the finish, which I feel like at this moment in time he needed to do. I feel like
Yeah.
he's done like a couple of very composed performances, but after getting dropped, like it's like you need to get the finish now.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he would have got dropped and then just fought to the decision and taken the decision, I feel like people would be a bit like whatever about it. But for him to get dropped, come back and get the finish the way that he did it, like it answered a lot of questions. It answered how he's going to respond to difficult times, and it answered like what he's going to do after those questions get asked. And yeah, I thought it was incredible.
Man, Keenan Song's face looked like he went through a meat grinder. The bull
Ooh.
roughed him up, man, on the feet. Like some precision in his strikes. Other than that, man, there was Tabitha Ricci. She got that arm bar on Jessica Penne. Pretty solid win for her against a former title challenger. Amanda Ribas, she came back, got a win. But other than that, that's about it, man. The rest of the card is just, it is what it is, like people like
It
to say.
is what it is,
What
baby.
it is. Before we go, man, before we break this down, shut this down, I wanted to talk to you about Power Slap League, man. They're having problems right now, man. Their ratings are dropping. What do you think, Dan? How are you gonna fix the problem for season 2?
I've already put my suggestions out there. They're falling on deaf ears. I said, now this is a serious statement. I will go to every pub. Just make me a matchmaker. Is that we don't need the best athletes. We need the boys with the most ticker. You know what I mean? And the most ticker is found in the pubs. So I said that I will go to every pub in Australia, every pub in New Zealand, and I will find the next wave of talent for you. All you have to do is bring me on board, lads. If that's not the highest rated TV show, I don't know what is.
Looking for a slapper? That's what's it called?
Looking for a slap. Looking for a slap.
Oh, Dan Hooker. Hey, I don't understand why there aren't many island boys on that show, like Tongans, Samoans. You would think they would be like built for that. You know what I mean? Like I've been around a lot of those boys.
What's the weight limit? What's heavyweight?
Man, it doesn't. Make it open weight. You know what I mean? You just make it.
They
Season
don't
2.
have it open weight. They don't have it open weight. They capped heavyweight. That's why you only see no Tongans and no Samoans in there, brother. You make an open weight division, I'll get you all the Tongans and Samoans you can get your hands on. I got them. Bro, I work the doors with a lot of these boys. I seen them slap some boy. I seen them slap a few coppers in the next week. Trust me, I know some quality slappers. I seen it firsthand. Bro, the boys on the door used to think, nah, I'm hitting them with an open hand. That's just I'm not gonna get in trouble for that. I'm like, brother, you're 200 kilos. I seen that copper fly 5 meters up the road. Like you're.
Yeah, you don't want to get in front of some of those boys, man.
Oh,
Samoans.
Nah. Just run. They can't catch you. They're too big.
Nah, that's heavy duty brain damage.
I'll fight a lot of people. There's a lot of covers in Auckland that I bumped into and gone, you know what? Catch you later. Not worth it.
Nah.
I had a few fights with them, brother. You punching them in the head, you're wasting your time.
Seriously.
These boys are made out of rocks.
Hey, you know who else was at the event? I think he's in the movie as well. In the Roadhouse movie is Connor and what is it? Chandler. They're doing the tough season. What did you think about that when you heard that they were going to do the season against each other?
That's the best fight for Connor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best fight for Connor. That's the biggest name that puts him one fight off a title shot. Like that's the best fight. I feel like the next best fight in lightweight, yeah, it's probably me for Connor. but it's far more dangerous than Chandler, because I feel like beating me still doesn't put you in line for a title shot. I feel like he beats Chandler regardless of the situation, knockout, decision, submission. Um, he gets a title shot after that, and that's truly like what Connor's after. Like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I could have told you that months ago that that's the fight that was going to go down.
Well, Chandler's America's sweetheart, you know what I mean? And you put Connor, you know, known to be the bad guy against America's sweetheart, you know, that storyline is pretty good, especially the matchup. Stylistically, it's good. Everything works out, you know what I mean? Because I think if
Everything's
you and
good.
Connor did the Ultimate Fighter against each other, there would be some I would like to see these heated
I don't
moments.
know. I don't know. I feel like we got more in common than we don't. Like I feel like I feel like we might get. I feel like we might get have too much whiskey one night and have a punch up. Like that's goes without saying, but that's like no hard feelings. You know what I mean? Like that's like we will wake up in the morning and shake hands and then get back on with the show. Like that's not like any kind of personal beef. I can't see Connor doing. I can't see Connor doing the show with anyone that's gonna just trying to rattle his cage every day and say things that he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like I'm a good sport. Like I like to have fun with things. I feel like that's all right. I feel like Chandler's not going to rock the boat too much. You pick one of the like Gagey's going to come in there and just say dumb shit. Ali be in his ears, saying, "Oh, say this, say that." Like, just shut up, bro. Like, just bring up shit that doesn't need to get brought up. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole different situation.
Hey, the whiskey dust up. That sounds like a promotion right there.
It's fun though. You know what I mean? Like, one shot every round, one shot before the fight starts. Like, it's a. You think slap fighting's as mad as I would like to think see go. You know, like I would have things going far worse. I can't believe they banned that copper for cocaine. I thought that was the point of slap fighting.
That's what I'm saying. That's a trip, right? Like you're testing for you're testing for
You
cocaine.
said
Like
testing for coke? Like I thought that's what these coppers had for breakfast. Like what the heck?
I thought that's what it was like wiped all on their face, like when they were slapping each other. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah. Oh, yeah.
what?
Now we're talking. A huge bowl of cocaine in the
Cocaine?
can.
Oh, you just smother your heads and
No
smother your
one ever
face.
got just no one ever going down. Like
Nah, nah. That's a good idea. That's season 2 right there. Let's change the rules. Season 2. Throw a bowl of cocaine out there and see what happens. Let's see what happens. Um, one more fight, man. The Dariush and Oliveira fight.
mm.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, Darish, I think nullifies the jiu-jitsu, defensively more sound on the feet. I feel like the wrestling kind of nullifies each other. Yeah. Oh man, like you could have heard me when I called him out. I said Dariush is hands down the technically best in our division. That's what I've been saying. Like when I called him out, I didn't say I wanted to fight him. I genuinely believe that he's the best guy in the division. Um, yeah, just unless Oliveira makes some kind of substantial shift in his approach, like I feel like he's just too tactically irresponsible, and that against a fighter like Darius, like he's only really lost to guys that who've like just caught him. Like obviously the last time he was coming up, working his way towards the title shot, there was a fight he was heavily dominating, which was the Barboza fight, and he got clipped with like a flying knee out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like that can't be accounted for. You can't tell me a fighter sucks because they got hit with like a 1 in a million shot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's just the nature of our sport. Um, Yeah, I'd say Dariush. My gut's telling me Dariush wins that one.
There you go. Everybody, we got like about 5 minutes left on the stream. Drop your questions. Drop your questions for Dan. Make sure you guys go in the descriptions, download the AllStar app, and hey, download it. Play against me. I'm picking fights. I'm very good. If you could beat me, I'll send you prizes. I'll send you prizes. I ain't even lying.
If you can beat me, I'll send you nothing because I'm terrible. And of course, you will be able to beat me. That was like when they banned the gambling. I was like, thank goodness, saving me money.
But you think people are following those rules? Come on.
You can do it under your missus' name. You can do it like, come on, bro.
If you want to do it, there's some.
If you
there's
want to
some
do it,
ways.
you can do it. If you
there's some
do
ways.
It, you can do it.
There's some ways, man. But yeah, it's the year has started off pretty wild, man. Very, very wild. We do have a question. Would Dan consider fighting Jay Turner? Of course he would consider it, right? Like, you were gonna fight him. Like, come on, my guy. Like, if Dan agrees to the fight before, I'm pretty sure he's gonna agree to the fight later on.
He lost to someone higher ranked, or we'll fight it, bro. I like that fight. I think it'd be fun. Like, I think the fans will love that fight. I thought it was gonna be a good fight.
It's a great fight. It's
fun.
What's training looking like for you nowadays?
Just fighting everyone with one hand.
Just jabbing the shit out of everybody.
Oh, no, actually, I'm on ACC. I'm not training at all.
Oh, okay.
So in New Zealand, if you can't work, they pay you to stay at home. No shit. I'm not even, like, we call it the New Zealand dream. It's like to get an injury long enough that you can sit on ACC for 6 months. They pay you 80% of your wage.
What?
To stay at home. Yeah, free healthcare in New Zealand. Free healthcare and ACC.
So you just got to give them a pay stub?
So say your job's like a physical job or whatever. You tear your ACL wrestling and you can't push a wheelbarrow for 6 months. They'll pay you for 6 months to stay at home. 80% of what you were getting for your job, they pay you to stay at home. So yeah, I'm training with one hand, but if anyone from ACC is watching, I'm not training at all. I'm sitting on the couch. I can't train. I can't do nothing.
You can't do anything. He's coaching from the sidelines.
I'm coaching
from the sidelines. But there was a couple of fighters that you were helping out, that you were coaching. What's the situation with them?
They just shifted training full time at City. Like a lot of them would, they get to like a certain level and I have them come over and just train with me. Okay. And they just become part of the team at City Kickboxing, and they still are. There's like obviously Aaron too, who's 7-0, undefeated, and Attain Peace Management. So Ash and Eugene are looking after him. So yeah, the trajectory for those guys stays exactly the same, and there's still some pretty big things coming for those guys in the future.
I wish they would send the Australian, New Zealand guys to those tournaments. They have those the Road to UFC tournaments for the Asian fighters. But I'm just thinking, like, why not tie in Australia and New Zealand with Asia? Because pretty much we're this side of the world, right? This is the region. So
yeah, like that's kind of how it works. Like, you become a New Zealand champion, then you become an Australian champion, and once you accomplish that, then you start fighting in Asia. You start competing in Thailand, and you start competing in Japan and China. So yeah, I feel like the UFC knows that. Or man, you can see how many guys are getting funneled into that Contender Series. I feel like those guys that are warranted for the Contender Series, now that the world is opened back up, you'll see those guys in the Contender Series in the very near future.
big secret, but the guys that win the road to UFC, they get a lot more money than the Contender Series guys. So it's better.
Well, then, yeah, chuck them in the road to the UFC. Fuck the Contender.
Open secret right there. Open secret.
Open secret. Road. Let the Australian boys fight the road to you. No. Oh, he's kicked himself off. He's kicked himself off. I'm going to wrap the show up, boys. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you.
You there? You there?
I timed out. Kicked you out.
All right. It's all good. We're done. Everybody, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll be back next week. Appreciate you, Dan. Get well soon, man.
Thank you, brother. We'll talk soon.